Welcome back to another episode of Hello Ladies, where feminism meets pro wrestling. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. I am Sabrina.
And I'm MJ.
And this episode, we are going to be talking about, we're each picking 3 wrestlers that deserve their flowers, and gosh darn, it seems like the shop's been out. So we have grown them ourselves to give to them. I just went really in on this metaphor.
That's right. And if you like hearing about all things us and wrestling, cut that part out.
It's staying. This is authentic, MJ. We are authentic.
Okay. You can keep it. I don't care. So if you like hearing about topics like feminism, how that works intersectionally with wrestling, like controversial topics as well, we like to touch on a little bit of everything. And then sometimes we keep it lighthearted like today. So if you want to hang out with us a little bit more, make sure you subscribe, like our podcast, and please share everywhere. Leave us a comment, send us some love. We appreciate it.
Yes, and be sure to rate our podcast wherever you may listen. Like our friend at is it Coffee and Wrestling or Wrestling and Coffee?
Wrestling and Coffee, yeah.
Yes.
Alex, he's awesome.
Yes. Do that. See? You get nice little shout outs. Not just you anymore, Tyler.
It's not all about you, Tyler.
God damn it.
Yes, no, we love our supportive male comrades in the Wrestle Talk community. Shout out to Tyler Wrestles and Alex from Wrestling and Coffee.
Yes. And everybody else who listens. There's a Megan who still listens, as I am told. Like there are other people too. These are just the ones who are reporting back. Like if you want your name dropped, you just need to report back. Like say you liked something and ta-da.
Yeah, share us in your stories and mention us, and then we'll feature you on the podcast and share you in our stories on the page.
Yes, and you can feel all warm and fuzzy, or we'll drop your name somewhere weird and you can spit coffee all over your car. I will never not mention that.
It was so funny.
But yeah, so when we decided to do this episode, it was just, hey, we should mention like each of us 3 wrestlers, that we think deserve their flowers and aren't getting them. And we did not give we didn't discuss criteria or anything else. And it became very evident while we were right before we started filming that like we went 2 different ways. Like, yeah. So
yeah.
We're gonna see how this goes. Maybe we'll wind up doing a series or something about this.
I would love if this became a series. This was Sabrina's idea too, so full credit to her. And I'm really excited to do this one.
Thank you. All right. So when I initially started putting together like my list,
okay, 2
of the names that popped the three names that popped into my head were Willow, and spoiler, all of my names are from AEW and WWE. I considered doing Impact since I watch that sometimes, but I would argue that you could say that about anybody in Impact, that they're not getting their flowers. So that's a whole other thing. Because then I got too overwhelmed. I overwhelmed myself. So I stuck to just AEW and WWE. And so Willow, Danhausen, and Dalton Castle were the first 3 that came into my mind. And then I was like, here's the thing.
Those were literally the first 3 that came in mind too.
Yeah. And while that is very true, and I agree with myself and you, I was like, I want like those are 3 people that we continually give flowers to. And I feel like many people in the IWC do as well. Like I feel like that wrestling fans as a collective ride for those 3. So with that in mind, I decided to pick 3 wrestlers that I felt the companies that they are all currently working. I don't think anyone's off injured, but even if they were, that the companies they're working for are not featuring them or have not historically given, and have historically not given them their flowers. And the internet wrestling community as a whole is not like ride or die for them. So that's where I went.
See, I love that. I should have followed that criteria as well. Because I love that you touched on the first part, because that's where I was so conflicted, because I was like, online we give these people credit, but then I was like torn between with the promotion itself. Like they're not getting featured prominently on a promotion, which is why, spoiler alert, Danhausen is one of the wrestlers featured on my list. But he is so beloved that he's been able to easily book, this is we're heading into WrestleMania season. He's been able to book tons of events for March and April to where he's going to be featured prominently in these places, and people are excited and they're buying tickets just to see Danhausen. So people are very excited about that, but they're not getting the love in their promotion. They're not getting the flowers from their direct promotion. So I kind of kept bouncing back and forth in that.
Yeah. Danhausen's, Danhausen and like Dalton Castle is being featured on Ring of Honor more frequently.
Sure.
So like there's an argument there. But like, yeah, Danhausen, I almost put that's where the internet wrestling community flowers came in.
I struggled with this too, because Sabrina and I were having a conversation about recency bias before we got on this podcast, which is something that I think the internet wrestling community, and myself included, fall victim to all the time, because I think of things in terms of like the last 6 months and somehow have deja vu from anything else before that. And so I think that's kind of where my mind got stuck on certain things too, because I think about people who I was trying to get out of that mindset and think about people who before that 6 month period of time didn't get credit for things as well. And so I was kind of trying to think of everything as a whole rather than getting stuck in the last 6 months, but it was hard to get out of that bubble.
Yeah. And one of the things I did was I eliminated anyone who had held the championship. So that they held the women's championship in either promotion or they held like the championship.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much so any championship, they're not on this list in either of those promotions. I'm not talking about outside promotions, but
Got it.
and a little inside baseball, if you will, right now. My list currently has 7 people on it, and I'm just gonna willy-nilly pull like I was like, we're going.
I was stuck on, should I jump into mine right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the day that we're filming this podcast, Chris Van Vliet dropped an episode about Roderick Strong. And I think I'm biased because I adore Roderick Strong so much and had this in my head so much. And I was listening to everything that he was saying about like his gimmick for the last few months and things too. And while he's been so red hot, and he's actually, I don't want to say this because I'm with Sabrina, but I'm going to say it anyway. He's very likely to beat Orange Cassidy, as this is going to go live next week, but this week when we're filming it, Revolution is this week. And I can tell by her face. I don't want to say it, but I have to say there's a high possibility that Roderick Strong is going to win the belt this weekend. And I love both Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. Sabrina is literally like her cat Scarlet in human form right now. Oh man. But yeah, I adore Roderick Strong, and I think his commitment to the gimmick is kind of where my mind went to, like him not getting enough flowers for this. He literally wore that neck brace for the neck strong gimmick so much that the doctors wanted him to take it off because it was starting to weaken the muscles in his neck because they were becoming dependent on the brace on his neck. So for me, I'm just sitting here, I'm like, this man just deserves his flowers, and like everything he did in NXT too. I just feel like he's kind of always I don't want to, almost like an unsung hero. Like he really holds up the backbone. He's always been there to support Adam Cole because Cole's gotten the spotlight quite frequently, right? And him just kind of forging his own path to make this goofy ass neck strong gimmick so funny, and like it kind of like when people take their own career like that by their horns and just kind of like run with it. That Roderick Strong, I felt like I could not put him on this list, but I think that the recency bias of me literally listening to that Chris Van Vliet podcast is also a portion of it. But I think he's great, and I think that he's gonna be a champion this week, Sabrina.
And another important thing I think about Roderick Strong, I'm not touching on the championship part. What he has done with the gimmick has also not elevated him, but everybody else in the kingdom, like
Yeah,
he brought everyone up. I mean, they obviously did work too. Um I'm a big fan of Matt Taven's work. I considered putting him on this list as well, except like
same.
he is entering his flowers era, I think. I hope.
Me too.
I really enjoy him. And I don't see how you could. I mean, I see how I could not because I couldn't watch some of that match, but like the match with Orange Cassidy, how could you not look at that like and be like, this man is great. Why haven't we seen more of him?
Yeah.
I demand Matt Taven. Meh. Um, so I, yeah. And I can't remember his name, which is Mike Bennett. There we go.
Mike Bennett, yeah.
Yeah, he's also
I
great.
almost said Mike Kanellis.
Yeah, right. He's also great. Love his wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roderick Strong is fantastic.
I almost was tempted, even though it's a controversial opinion, because he gets so much love from everybody, is Adam Cole, because I think it's underrated that he lifts everybody up so much and elevates them for what he did for the kingdom and for Roderick, bringing them into the storyline. And even Wardlow, he brought him back on the map in a way that was like, what the fuck are we doing with Wardlow? That was so frustrating for so long. So even though people say that Wardlow isn't a fit in the Undisputed Kingdom, it really has kind of like given a reason to kind of push Wardlow back again in a good way and re-elevate him. And I'm hoping that he stays in the same elevation that he's in right now. But so I almost wanted to put Adam Cole for that reason, because I think he doesn't get his flowers for what he does for other people around him. But I didn't put him on the list.
Yeah. So who is on your list?
So I have three. I put Danhausen, of course. I did put Roderick Strong, and I actually put Sunny Kiss as my number three.
I love Sunny Kiss.
Yes. And so even though Sunny is now an Impact, I felt like there's been I was there during Effie's Big Gay Brunch this last year in September. I think that was all the numbers get confused in my head. I think it was 7, 6, one of them, whichever one was in 2023 September. And I saw Sunny cry in the corner by the turnbuckle while Effie gave Sunny their flowers, and was just like, and it was right after the AEW release, and it was just like, and Effie was just like, wherever you go, you're a star. You are fucking the greatest thing. And it was just like, I filmed it and I cry. I'm tearing up thinking about it right now, because it was just, Sunny just was like trying to like not cry, but was just let it out, and it was just, I can't not, anytime I've ever seen Sunny Kiss in the ring, they're amazing,
You can't take your eyes off them. Like you can't.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else like Sunny Kiss in wrestling that brings exactly what they do.
Yeah.
And the biggest drop of a ball.
I know. You know what I struggled with a lot on this is that we have people, when you say give them their flowers, I feel like there's a difference, right? Because you look at the Undertaker gets his flowers,
Yeah.
because he had this career of longevity.
And
In
he's
my
the dead
head,
man. So, people bring him to his grave.
exactly. Boom, boom. But the thing that I struggled with is that I'm a big GCW girl, and my mind went to like all these people who actively wrestle in GCW. But if you're into independent wrestling or you're part of the IWC, you actively currently right now are probably giving these people their flowers. You've got Speedball Mike Bailey, for example, I wanted to put Effie, but if you have like some kind of wherewithal about wrestling at all in general, you probably know who Effie is, or at least familiar. So I kind of got torn too with like, are we talking about like a longevity, like that we look back on somebody's career, like Kurt Angle, for example, who got shit on for the first few years of his career and then went to TNA and just tore shit up, and now after the fact he gets his flowers, right? But didn't at the time. So I'm torn on that too, because it's like we have people who actively, yes, they're getting like praise, but wrestling fans are fickle, like Danielson famously
Mhm.
said. So they turn on people on a dime. And so for me, I'm like, just because they are hot right now and getting their flowers, are we just going to shit on these people 10 years down the
Probably.
line over? So that's where I got torn. But I feel like Sunny Kiss is consistently somebody that no matter how much they are elevated, I feel like they're always going to be, I feel like they deserve more always.
Yeah. Um, Adding on to the shitting on people, I feel like specifically the indie darlings, if any of them sign to a major promotion, that is when they are most likely to be shit on.
Yes.
Um, because they've left the, how dare they want a stable income? Um,
Yeah.
and like there are fans who will shit on them just for doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
then um there are ones that'll get mad if they're not doing the same exact gimmick. Um
Yes.
and part of that
Let,
is, oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was like, if you join WWE, oftentimes you don't get to keep the same gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
because they put their stamp on it.
Yes.
We're starting to see that loosen up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sean Spears has come back and he is Sean Spears, not Ty Dillinger. Um, and we're seeing that with like some other folks, but like maybe I might have just said that for no reason. I feel like there's somebody else, but at any rate, um, oh, Jade Cargill. That's,
Yes.
she didn't come from the independents, but you know.
Yes.
Um, but in AEW or like larger scale arenas, things don't play the same necessarily to the crowd. Indies are different, and like they're two different venues. Things like
Yeah.
don't always translate the same. Some wrestling fans get that, others don't.
Yes. I
Um,
was I was thinking about when you were talking, I was thinking about Cody Rhodes. I was thinking about I've been a Cody Rhodes girl since 2010, okay?
Me
And I
too.
saw you get it, you get it. And so I saw people just shit on this man. And Sabrina always jokes around that I always date men that look like wrestlers. And I one of my boyfriend at the time looked like Cody Rhodes, even
You're a
with the
lucky
dark.
woman then.
um, and I think about how good Cody was then and how he's only gotten so much better. But I feel like how people held this really fucked up microscope over him in the same way they do Charlotte Flair now. Um, and how Cody had to leave to prove himself on the independents because he got sick of being pigeonholed in this Stardust gimmick. And then I feel like he got heat a little bit on the indies, but then gained love on the indies. And I feel like he went to AEW and people were really excited. And then after a while, the fans kind of turned on him a little bit in AEW. And then
A
he
lot
went
of it.
back to WWE. A lot of them did, yeah. And then he went back to WWE and then got like massive love. So I just feel like it's this weird, like, what is that secret sauce? You know what I mean? Like that, I don't know. It's just so it mystifies me, you know?
For the what I feel like I've noticed with WWE fans is like
Mm-hmm.
when someone is actually good and like people aren't recognizing them or they're shitting on them and then they leave, they're let go, they ask for the release, they're gone, they're on the independence, whatever.
Yeah.
That's when they're like, wait a minute. It's like a child when they're like when their parents are trying to give away a toy. It's like,
I
no,
really like that thing. You're
that is
gonna
my
get rid of
favorite.
it. Yeah, now it's their favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the thing with like him and Drew, I mean, Drew has been a little like up and down with the
Yeah.
fans because WWE. But they, because he was gone for so long, that
Yeah.
like when they come back, everyone's just like salivating for it. And then with Cody, when I watching him in AEW, I kept saying like I guarantee when if he goes back to WWE, like they'll gladly take him. Like the fans want him. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll like he has to do a face run. And sure enough, and I was just like, hmm, all the time I spent in sociology classes and stuff and like learn like studying anthropology and stuff. This is where it pays off watching wrestling fans. Like I feel like that is the only way anything is transferred from my academic career. And
I I feel like that's why Sabrina and I get along so well, because like her studying things like sociology, me studying things like psychology, and then I feel like that's like our strength too. We can see like this bigger picture of what's going on, and we don't get stuck in like this like thing, you know? And so I just, yeah, I feel like I'm like constantly like analyzing with the behavior of wrestling fans. And I don't feel
Mhm.
like I mean, I guess I do that a little bit in the workplace, but overall I'm like laughing because like what you're saying, I feel like I use most of my degree to analyze wrestling.
This is one of the nerdiest things I've thought of in a while, but I really think we should write a paper on like the cultural mores of wrestling fans. Nobody else has fucking done. Everybody who's listening to this is my idea. MJ and I are going to work on this, so I've decreed.
I always said that if I ever completed my master's degree, that it would be my dissertation would be on wrestling in some way.
Rubbing my little like planning paws together.
Someone did talk about how they wrote like a dissertation about wrestling and how nobody could really refute what they were writing because nobody understood the context of what they were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically writing about there are more things written about like cultural norms and mores of circuses and like that's what but that's basic and carnies. That's basically what we're talking about. That's where wrestling comes from.
I love this conversation.
I'm so I'm so excited now. I really want to do this.
Oh, it would be so fun. I'm down.
Yeah. Moving on to the conversation at hand and not our academic dreams. Can you imagine? I don't even know who would publish such a paper, but like I'm down to find out.
What if fucking pro wrestling insider was like, all right.
Imagine the readers. They're like, why are there references? Like, what is this citing? Like, what the
Yeah, yeah.
fuck
And we
is
had
this?
we had to talk to the editor about how to where to put it, and they're like, "What the fuck are you having me do with
Yeah. Like,
it?"
either that or it's someone who went to like probably someone who went to journalism school and they're like, woohoo, I get to
Yeah,
use
they're
this.
like, "Fuck yeah, I get to use it." Yeah,
Put on their nerdy hat like,
yeah. I really feel like people really undervalue the intelligence of wrestling fans because yeah, there are a lot of people who get sucked in and like don't differentiate reality from kayfabe, but then there's a lot of people who love wrestling because of the psychology of it.
mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just saying, Christopher Nowinski, you know, he has a PhD, became a wrestler, and now is doing all the research on,
Yeah.
traumatic brain injuries and stuff. Just saying, smart people like wrestling too.
Yep, it's true.
Did I just compare us to him? I certainly did.
I was also gonna say that like there are really smart people who like wrestling that don't have degrees too.
Yeah.
But we're giving examples of awesome educational minded people who I did just lump us into that category too.
Mhm. And of course, anyone listening to this podcast is clearly a genius. So
I feel like we're really gassing ourselves up on this one. People are just like,
we're supposed to,
okay, we get it.
everyone's like, you're supposed to be giving other people the flowers, not each other.
I know. Oh Jesus. Okay, we'll back up.
Right. Oh, off the rails. Um, yes. So, oh shit. Is it my turn to?
It's your turn, yeah. So you did initially list off Danhausen, Willow. Were those part of your seven that you have on your list, or were they just the first three? Okay, we're diving in.
Yep.
Maybe you should. Maybe, yeah, you should go.
All right. So the first one I have is Candice LeRae. Um,
Oh, good one.
because you talk about someone who's put in the work.
Yeah,
She is an amazing talent. I loved like anyone who watched NXT or saw her on the indies knows what a phenomenal talent she is all the way around. If you read the Young Bucks memoirs, if you watch stuff from memoirs, there's one. If you watch indie stuff, as in independent wrestling, not indie her partner, you will see like she has worked with some of the best in the business, and like they all say glowing things about her. Um, and I just she's so fucking talented and just is not getting the showcase on the main roster that she should.
Oh, I love that so much. And I'm going back to Chris Van Vliet again, but he literally had an interview last week, I think it was, with Johnny Gargano, where Johnny said that Candice LeRae is my favorite wrestler of all time. Like, and I just was like, first of all, we love a man that loves his wife and supports her, but she's that damn good. And what you're saying too also aligns with this conversation of like someone who's so beloved on the indies, but kind of gets shit on now for like, why is Candice LeRae in this match, you know, and like that kind of a thing where it's like, because she's good, because, you know, it's just, so it's funny how she has gotten her flowers in the past, but doesn't get her flowers now. So it's just, it's interesting.
Yeah, when people do the like, why is she in this match? I'm like, why isn't she in all of the matches?
I
I'm like raging at the other end.
like
Um,
that you were doing like the what? You want
you
to
want to
go?
fight? You want to fight? I'll throw down. I'll throw down right now. I've had coffee today. I haven't had like coffee in a while, and now like it's all built up. Ugh. Um, the next one on my list, am I doing, did you want me to say everyone who's on the list or just three of them?
Yeah, go through it.
I have Cedric Alexander.
Okay.
If you watched, so I first got introduced to Cedric Alexander watching, um, oh, what the hell was that thing called? The Cruiserweight Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And people, myself included, fell in love with that man and just were so behind him. And then when they had 305 Live, which I loved, he was such like a key holder of that. Like a lot of it I feel like was on his back in the beginning. And then he transitioned over to the main roster, and he was doing okay. Like he's never done excellent. Like on the main roster, I feel like, and he is someone who is fantastic to watch in the ring. I feel like he does fun promos. He just has such great energy about him, and yeah. And as I put him on the list, I'm like, is he even still in WWE? Like I was like, I had to stop and be like, has he been released? And I didn't check, so I don't know. Like he's either injured or he's released. So I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. Which then I was just like, then he definitely deserves to be on this list, considering I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? As we're talking, I'm thinking of people I could add to this list because I feel like this was such a hard list for me to make. I was
Mhm.
telling Sabrina that until I was on the drive home before we jumped on, I was still trying to finalize people on my list because I couldn't narrow it down to three. It was so hard.
I couldn't narrow it down, period. So if there's somebody else, throw them on the list because I didn't adhere to my own rules.
I mean, hearing you talk, I feel like we have to say Shelton Benjamin.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel, you know, and it was interesting because if you would have asked me 6 months ago, Dolph Ziggler would be on this list, but now he's fucking killing it in New Japan, and I know that he's going to be the champion in Impact in the next couple months. He has to be, or sorry, TNA.
Yeah.
And I just, it's so funny how 6 months ago I would have been like, give my man his flowers, and now it's like the world is watching, you know, Nick Nemeth just conquered the fucking world, you know.
I feel like he's sashaying around singing Miley's like, I can buy my own flowers now.
Totally. Yeah. I can buy myself flowers. Yeah, yeah, totally. Or I wanted to put Mustafa Ali on this list,
Yeah.
but like,
There's another one,
but
but he's,
I know, which is great. I fucking love it. I love seeing these people just take their careers into their own hands and like make lemonade out of these lemons.
yes. Yeah.
But Shelton Benjamin has to be on this list because the fact that the man was not a WWE like champion, like the primary champion of the company, is a fucking crime.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love his relationship with Mia Yim.
Yes.
They are so funny. They are so, so funny. Mia Yim was a honorable mention on my list. She
Mm-hmm.
is my cat Dobby's favorite wrestler. I don't know what it is, but if she's on the screen, like wrestling, he watches.
Oh, wow.
And it's been through different hair colors and stuff too. I don't know what it is. She has good cat energy, I guess, because he'll like, I have a video of him sitting paws crossed watching as I'm like putting away clothes, and he just watched her. I don't know what it is. He also likes the show Angry Beavers. I don't know. So
Dobby is a very niche spirit.
apparently so. Apparently so. Um, but yeah, she's somebody else who like I absolutely love her, and I hope that Mi Chin gets all of the things. I
Yes,
want her to be champ one day. I love
I
her.
do too. I do too.
Her. Um, sticking with the Cedric Alexander though, where my mind went from him was then Noam Dar, who is just he's in NXT now. He's bounced all around. He was also someone I got introduced to through the again, I can't remember the name of it. This is really sad. Cruiserweight Classic. There we go. He then wound up on 305 Live and was hysterical. Fucking hysterical. With his Alicia Fox. And him doing that completely like gave her a second, like a boost in her career, and like is probably the reason they kept her for the last run she had. Um,
Yeah.
and the two of them together were hysterical, psychotic, great. I've seen him wrestle live, and he is just so entertaining. I love
Yeah. That's awesome.
him. Yeah, now he's on the NXTs. Then okay. So I didn't put all of the best friends.
Okay.
I put one.
Hmm.
Do you care to guess which one?
Was it Chuck?
It was Chuck. Um, I feel like Trent gets highlighted. We just talked about how like it seems like they're gearing up to do something with Trent.
Hmm.
I'm so worried for Chuck because I enjoy him so much. He also he taught Ricochet how to wrestle.
Mm.
So if you love Ricochet, you can thank Chuck Taylor. Go send him a nice little tweet right now. Pause this. Be like, "Dear Chuck Taylor, hello, hello, ladies told me to send him a formal letter on Twitter." Um,
Oh my God, that's funny.
but yeah, he has the most adorable dog um of anyone who is not on this podcast. And he's just such a great talent. He's so funny. Um he's great too. Like if you ever pay attention to him while he's outside the ring, like he does great crowd work, and just like he's in it to win it. Um and I loved him also on BTE, especially during the pandemic. Um just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And has not had AEW Tag Team Championship, and it's one of the things that I hate most in the wrestling world.
I'm thinking out loud right now because we talked about making this a series. I feel like if we have guests on, this would be a really fabulous question to ask them,
I agree.
because one of the people that popped in my head who's not on my list, and I feel like I'm the kind of person I have to do things with, I have to work things out, talk things out to like really get, because I feel like when it's just me, I like having a sounding board, I guess. As we're talking, AR Fox popped in my head, who, while he has gotten time on AEW, he has literally worked to train Alan Angels, our buddy Alex Kane,
Yep.
Austin Theory, Jade Cargill. And so it's just, and he's fabulous in the ring. He's a brilliant technician. Of course, Darby Allin as well. He played a part in Darby's career. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes who have producer skills, who are also amazing wrestlers, who are also amazing trainers and coaches. And so those really are the unsung heroes, the people that train all of these great talents and are great wrestlers themselves, but also don't get featured.
Mm-hmm. And Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano also train wrestlers. Britt
Mm-hmm.
Baker was trained by them.
Oh, I didn't know that one. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Or yeah, in part by them. Yeah. Um, I have also an entire group on here from AEW. Because I was struggling to
Wait, did you
narrow.
put Serena Deeb on there?
I did not.
I almost put, see, I was going through this whole list in my head and I was like, damn, Serena.
I've never liked her wrestling, so that's why she's not on my list.
Really? Okay, okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a traitor saying that, but her style has never sung to me, so
Interesting. I feel like sometimes I see a little like flecks of like a Danielson when I watch Serena wrestle, and I'm such a big Danielson girl. So I feel like not that you have to agree with my opinion. I'm just saying out loud why I think that she appeals to me in that way.
mm, yeah.
How dare you not like my opinion?
I don't like your opinion. It's just that I don't particularly like the wrestler that you like.
I
Um,
know, I know, I know. I'm teasing
oh
you.
my God, Kat. Sorry. Scarlett is, oh my God, very clingy today. Very clingy. Um, the group that I have is Join the Dark Order. As in the ones that remain, not like when they started. Obviously, when they started, they were off to a great start.
Yeah.
We all know what derailed it. But yeah, I love Johnny Hungy, Johnny Silver, um, Alex Reynolds, and Evil Uno. They
Mhm.
are so fun. I love everything they do. Sorry, this
Mhm.
cat. If you're just listening to this, I am so sorry. She is just very demanding and I'm battling her. It's Scarlet, of course. But um during the pandemic, again, they were like a group that really, I feel like, held AEW together. They were
Mhm.
always out there, kind of like the ass boys. They were always out there like rooting everyone on. Again, I watch BTE, which is now being the Dark Order. Um, they have taken it over. They're just so fun and they have it's very much so positive masculinity as well. Um, yeah. And again, they're a group that when they get the time to shine, they really do. And everyone's like, I feel like when they have big matches where they're allowed to showcase their talent, everyone's like, why don't we see more of the Dark Order? And then 2 weeks later, everyone forgets. It's like amnesia.
Yeah. I feel like I feel so conflicted on the Dark Order because I feel like what do they do now? Like what like that and I feel like it's kind of been like that since we unfortunately lost Brody is like fuck, what do we do now? Because we don't want to get rid of like this faction that represented this awesome moment in wrestling time. But I feel like they're all just stuck in this like it just feels like they don't want to
Yep.
like disrupt what that was, so they don't let these people move forward. And I
Yes.
just and it sucks because I completely agree with you. I think this is a great pick. And I watched a match that I'm sure Sabrina didn't watch or didn't want to watch was John Moxley versus Evil Uno with the gushing through the mask. And I watched that video on my phone the other night and I was like, I'm gonna be nice and not send this to Sabrina. But yeah, and he was fucking incredible every step. I mean, he kept up with Moxley step by step, and it's like people instead after that match fat shamed him. And ever since then, I don't know if you've noticed, but anytime you've seen Evil Uno, he's been wearing a vest ever since that, covering himself, and it's just
Yeah.
it's just shitty.
Um, yes, all of that. The John Moxley versus Evil Uno match. I was like, great, I'll be able to watch this because of the mask. No, no. The, the squirt of blood. Oh, oh,
Hey,
no.
Moxley doesn't let roadblocks stop him, he's very committed.
Yes.
That makes me so happy for our girl Renee, he's not going to let little things stop him from achieving what needs to. He'll work through all the problems to get to the other side.
Yes, sure.
I love that your eyes went like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't sound good. Like my brain just went to like the what you're saying could be problematic. How are we wrapping this up?
No, I
He
think
just
that
wore
he.
her down until she said yes. No,
Oh
that's not
God,
what
no,
happened.
no. Yeah, no. I think that he's the kind of person that like he'll work through shit with somebody he loves rather than just being like, well, what are we doing here, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then my last one is Taya Valkyrie.
I almost put her on my list too. Yeah.
Uh, again, she is someone who I see as very much so the total package. I think she
Yeah.
is often overlooked because some people don't think she has um the body type of whatever it is that they think a female wrestler should look like, Divas
True.
era um style. And she, which is ridiculous. She is a gorgeous woman.
Mm-hmm.
But even more importantly than that, she has done such great character work. She has such amazing in-ring skill, like again, total package. And I wish that the little things that her and Johnny TV do, I think one's out today. On the AEW YouTube channel. Like I wish they
Mm-hmm.
were longer because I want to bite into them more. But
Me
yeah.
too. Me too. They're so fun to watch, so campy and goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, she's fabulous. And that's another woman. Why is every woman that walked through AEW's doors have to get fat shamed online by the IWC? They did it to Deonna Purrazzo most recently, they did it to Taya Valkyrie, and then now Taya's lost 25 pounds. She just posted that on social the other day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so she's so goddamn talented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I like that she's being paired up with her man now because I think they just have this
They're so
beautiful. Yeah. First of all, they're gorgeous to look at. Second of all, they are hilarious together, and they both are incredible in the ring.
Yeah, oh my God, I would love to go to a dinner party with those two.
Same,
Like,
same. And it's funny because they're really good friends in real life with Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona. I want to be a fly on the wall at that table.
right? Like, oh my God. Oh, I think you'd have to wear a diaper because you would just piss yourself. Like, oh, I'm going over the dinner party, got my diaper on.
Oh my god, that's funny as fuck.
I haven't
Yeah.
had any liquids in 48 hours.
You know what's really funny is I've always been a big Chelsea Green fan, and she's getting like so much love right now. But I think about when she first came back at the Royal Rumble, and people who either A didn't know who she couldn't really remember who she was or didn't know who she was. There was a lot of people online that were like, "Who the fuck is even this?" Or like were shitting on her. And I was instantly like, I remember I was this person, I was standing up, I was like, yeah, she's back last year. I was so stoked. And yeah, and I just felt like then people were shitting on her, and now they're just singing her praises, and so it's just so fickle.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna chalk it up to her ability to win people over.
Yeah. Or even like how people made it seem like she was a failure for quote unquote getting kicked out of the Royal Rumble so fast, or whatever. But it's like she knew what she was doing, It was like she is all about creating these moments.
Mm-hmm. She will build her house off of, things that people think are burials.
Totally.
Oh, yeah. I love like going back to our interview with Alex Kane, which you can watch and listen to on our podcast. A few weeks ago. I love when he talks about like wrestling fans and what they perceive as burials.
Yeah.
Because it's not, no, no, no.
Right.
Oftentimes it's just a storyline. Unless someone there have been times, WWE, where you can clearly see someone as
Sorry, what was
being
that?
WWE, where you can clearly see someone as being buried, and it's right before a contract is ending. Like they are trying to
Send a
devalue them.
message. Yeah.
Yeah, or send a message. Like some of that, like we've seen that, but even someone losing a bunch before they leave isn't necessarily always a burial either. It's like putting people over before you go out, which is a
Like
time-honored
Osprey.
tradition. Huh?
Yes, like Osprey, he lost basically all of his New Japan matches recently. He's lost all of the Impact matches he's had, and it's to put everybody else over, like you said.
Yep. You leave the place better than when you showed up. It's going back to like Girl Scout basics. You'll
Okay, what are Girl Scout basics?
So part of the thing is so I think it's with Boy Scouts, they say like you leave a place how you found it. So you take your litter with you.
Sure, sure.
Girl Scouts, what I was always told was you leave the place better than you found it.
I love that. Yeah.
So that's the same with wrestling.
It's funny because we're also on the eve of Sting's last match, and I was thinking about that this morning, how I really do think that Sting is going to lose. Especially, did you read the what Darby said, the publication he made about Sting?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was, and how he's constantly just putting everybody over and putting people before himself. I was like, there's no way this man is winning this match. It's just, yeah,
I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
going out on his back.
I know.
Yeah,
And you were right how you said he's taking the pin. I totally agree.
yeah, yeah.
But
Um, yeah. Any final thoughts on what will perhaps be the first of a series?
I feel like we really didn't even like, for anybody listening who's really into like CMLL, who's really into Triple A, who's really into New Japan. Those are all organizations that Sabrina and I are not the most familiar with. So I'm sure there are tons of people that we could have easily touched. I don't want to say easily, but we could have definitely touched on. So don't crucify us because we are not as educated on those promotions. But if you have people that we need to check out and watch matches from, please give us recommendations.
Yes, yes. Um, and I don't have any other thoughts in my head. I thought I did, and then it was empty. It was empty.
Fair. Sabrina has had the fucking craziest February, like on record, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yes, yes, yes. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everything will be fine. My voice is coming back. Like,
Yeah, you sound great.
yeah.
I was gonna say.
Like I can still feel a little like gravel happening in there, but overall, I
Nice.
just have to remember to drink my water. And I've been adding in, well, this is half of a fucking lemon, but
I was gonna ask what was in there.
half of a lemon. Yeah. Why? I had to squeeze one into a recipe for soup, and then I was just like, into the water you go.
There you go. Why not?
Yeah. I've been doing that. Unfortunately, I think in the past 3 days I've drank too much lemon water because the
Mhm.
acidity is starting to wreak havoc on my tongue. Like, have you ever done that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's also how I know you don't eat a whole pineapple at once.
Yeah.
It will destroy your mouth. I've done it, so you don't have to.
Wise words to end the podcast on.
Yes, 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 yes. So we shall close out like we always do in the name of our
Of our
Lord,
Lord and
Savior,
Savior,
John
John
Cena,
Cena.
hustle,
Hustle,
loyalty,
loyalty,
and
and
respect.
respect.
Yabba do.
Yabadoo.